I have been fostering dogs for about 10 years. I started at Town and Country. It's been about 11 years actually. And then I moved to HHP and fostered dogs for them also because they're a foster based only rescue. Well, originally I started volunteering out at Town and Country walking dogs. And there wasn't as much need for fostering there because they have a shelter and they have a place where people can come and see the dogs. But when Debbie David started Hands, Hearts, and Paws, she didn't have a location and everybody had to have a home to foster. So that's when I started, when she started that rescue. Because thousands of dogs are killed every day because they're unwanted or not less than perfect or not the perfect breed. And so if you just look around and wait, you can find any breed, almost every breed shows up at a shelter at some point. And I'd like to stop the euthanization of all the perfect animals that are out there for adoption. When I first get them, we bring them in and we check their vetting to see what's been done. Usually not a lot. Sometimes a lot of vetting has been done. And that's the first thing is we do a fecal to make sure there are no parasites or worms. We get all the vaccinations that are needed to make it current. We bring them into our home and integrate them slowly with our own animals. Some of them have never walked on grass. Some of them are afraid of cement. Some of them have never been out of a kennel. So all of those things are assessed in the first couple of days. And then you work on the things you need to. Some of them have never been dogs before. And that's where my dogs come in helpful. They are very good at teaching them what to do, when to go outside, what to do when you're outside, how to play with toys, how to ask for things, how to eat from a bowl. Even we've had dogs that have to eat off the ground because that's all they've ever had. And then once they're acclimated and they're ready for adoption, we post them. And your job as a foster is just to love them until that happens. Well, seeing them get a home, honestly. And some of the homes are fantastic. All homes are good for the dogs, but some of them are amazing. But just seeing them grow, doing something that they didn't do when you first got them, learning new skills, a dog that they tell you is never going to be potty trained, all of a sudden is potty trained. Like those are the highlights of the fostering. The first 2 days, because everything is new and everything is disrupted in your family. Your dogs are unsure. The new dog is unsure. They might not sleep through the night. They might not be potty trained. They might not get along with your dogs initially. So all of that is a little bit stressful. But usually once you get over that hump and they accept each other, it just becomes part of the routine. Well, I have fostered officially, the best I can count, 108 dogs over the 10 years. So some years I foster more than others. But little Ray Ray was one of my 80th. She was in the 80s. She was one of the 80s fosters, and I had no intention of keeping her, but she came to us with pyometria from the dog mill and almost died, and I was setting my alarm every 2 hours to go feed her at urgent care, and then she had to have all of her mammary glands removed, and then she had to have all of her teeth removed, and after all of that, I felt like we had a little connection, so she had to just stay with me. She is from a mill in central Nebraska, and she's from a breeder, so it's a breeder's surrender. And any breeder that has more than a few dogs is considered a mill, basically. They don't have just a few dogs. They have 40 to 50 breeding dogs at a time. So they say they're a breeder and not a mill. We feel a little bit differently about that. So at the puppy mill, her job was to breed puppies, and because she's little and she's a Yorkie poo, she has more of the poo than she has some Yorkie features, but they liked breeding her for her color and her size. And the reason that she was dumped, we are 100% sure, is because she developed pyometria, which is an infection of her uterus, so she was not going to be able to breed anymore. So rather than euthanize them, because they don't want to pay that money either, they give them to rescue to see if we will take care of them. And so, of course, we do. If we have foster homes, we do. But while she's at the mill, she's in a kennel 24 hours a day. When she goes into heat, she's put with a male to hopefully have a baby, and her babies are born in her little wire kennel, and they are taken away from her when she's 4 weeks old. Almost all mill dogs are afraid of things. Like, they're not socialized. That's the biggest thing, is that they're taken from their mother when they're 4 weeks old. And if they're not socialized with humans, they're afraid of them. A lot of them will pee when someone walks up to them, and it's a nervous anxiety pee. A lot of them have separation anxiety once they're out, because they've only known the confines of a kennel, and now the world is really big and they're afraid of it. As I said before, some of them are afraid of grass, some are afraid of cement, some are afraid of other animals. It seems that most of them, though, the first thing they warm up to is another animal, because of course that's what they've been stored with. Maybe they put 2 or 3 females together in the same kennel, so she may have had sisters or at least friends that she had in her same kennel. But oftentimes some of the traits you see are rotten teeth. They are absolutely disgusting and almost always are pulled. They walk in circles because that's what they have always done. That's all the space they ever had was their kennel. So they'll walk in circles around their kennel. They're very hard to potty train, because they've always just gone potty wherever they were at the moment, and they don't know anything about controlling. Although I've had really good luck with that, so I don't want to pigeonhole mill dogs as not potty trainable, because they are. Other than that, I mean, other than their medical needs, you know, once they get past those hurdles, some of them become regular dogs. Just like you, huh? Yeah, just like you. All right, Ray and I would like to send one last message for you. Please, if it's in your heart, adopt, don't shop. Don't think that you are rescuing that little puppy from the pet store, because they're just going to replace it with another puppy, and it perpetuates the mill. There are beautiful little dogs like Ray Ray here who need a place. Tell them, adopt, don't shop. Mwah.